Hey guys, I had to stop last time because I got busy, but I'll pick up, I think, close to where I left off, if not where I left off, because I might have read a little bit more of this since. But let's go ahead and pick right back up into reading, shall we? To whom this may concern, don't take my distance personally. I just want us to both bloom within our own spaces without imposing on each other's growth. Our energies will meet again soon. It's very nice. Let me just move this over here. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Okay. Back at it. Fruitless. Loving someone who feels empty is a unique battle. It's like pouring water into a cup with holes on the bottom. No amount of love you show them can convince them of their wholeness until they feel whole on their own. Some voids can only be filled by self. So true. If you don't love yourself, you can't let anybody else really love you, because you don't feel deserving. Art. Recreate yourself endlessly, shamelessly, recklessly. Recreate yourself over and over again. You are never the finished article, and you never have to be. You're allowed to keep adding color to the canvas of possibilities that you are until you like what you see. Your intuition has been asking about you. Where have you been? Last thing I heard, it called a few times, but you sent it straight to voicemail. Last thing I recall, it sent you a message and you left it unread. Your heart and mind have set a search party out for you because you've been missing lately. You've been listening to every voice except for the one that speaks to you. You've been digesting every vibration except for the ones that feed you. You've been following every path except for the one that leads you back to yourself. And for what reason? Have you let the bad decisions you've made in the past taint the importance of your internal guide? Have you given up trust in your internal signals because reception seems low whenever you need it the most? Are you just used to ignoring internal energy because you've convinced yourself that your feelings are not important? Let go of the reasons and allow intuition to be your voice of reason. Let the decisions you made in the past allow you to grow into the person you need to be. And let your next decision be shaped by what's true to you. Come back home. Your intuition has been asking about you. Never compare your healing process with anyone else's. There is a beauty in your process that isn't meant to be replicated or intimidated. Let it play out the way it should, no matter how hard it seems or how long it takes. Own your healing process. Don't shy away from it. It'll take a unique shape of its own. Allow it to. Allow it to be magical. Allow it to be bitter. Allow it to be reliving. Allow it to be sweet. Allow it to be beautiful by not comparing your healing process with anyone else's. And when love isn't enough, never convince yourself that you aren't enough either. Some connections have expiration dates regardless of how hard you try to preserve them. The connections that have died and the connections you couldn't save have nothing to do with your worth. That is something I've been trying to tell myself lately, so it's nice to hear somebody else write them. Knowing your own magic is enough. If you have to constantly convince them of your magic, they are not deserving of anything you have to offer. Chapters. Sometimes happiness can't find us because we still have a few things to learn from sadness. Sometimes light doesn't appear because we still have a few things to understand about darkness. Your low points are not your end points, but only temporary phases. Incomparable. She chose happiness, and it was the most beautiful fabric I've ever seen on her. Discernment. I started becoming more intentional about my boundaries when I realized that I was unintentionally inviting unwanted energy into my space. When I made peace with the realization that keeping certain people at a distance doesn't make you a bad person when your intentions are good. I had to sneeze, so I paused for a second. Okay, guys. Lessons that solitude taught me. There's a certain intimacy in getting to know yourself that can't be matched. Absorb those moments, swim in that solitude, come up for air whenever you need. You can't truly connect with anyone else unless you're connected with yourself first. So beautiful. There's really nothing more beautiful than knowing yourself. And truly, at the end of the day, I think we all really know who we are, and we're all very beautiful. So remember that. Ascension. You don't have to hold hands and dance with what you no longer identify with. You could contradict yourself plenty of times before you stumble upon your truth and find what you truly resonate with. Yeah, we all have phases, guys. Sometimes they're sad, but we live for the beautiful ones. When was the last time you gave yourself all of you? The last time you gave yourself all of you without saving parts of yourself for other people? When was the last time you were a little selfish with the energy you give out so sparingly? When are you going to change that? Fulfillment. Any connection that requires you to drop your standards to meet the other person at their level is not worth your energy. You are deserving of connections that aid in your ascension instead of pulling you under the waves. I'll share a little bit of personal thing that I've been going through lately. I feel like I overtry in relationships, but I've been talking with my therapist about it. I just want to let a lot of things be. Whatever's supposed to be happen, without overtrying with people. I want to be authentic. And not that the overtrying isn't authentic, but just let things flow naturally. And I feel like if you know that you put in your best with people and gave all the love that you had, you should have a lot of peace with that. You tried your best at the time, and have peace with that, and just let things be however they're supposed to turn out to be. Just let things be, and be grateful for the connections that you have now, and the connections that have passed, and the connections that may return again. You never know what'll happen in this life. It's so beautiful and unexpected like that. But yeah, I'm just sharing. Okay, atonement. Slow down, breathe, forgive yourself every chance you can. Don't let one heavy day weigh you down for the rest of your life. There's much more magic in days ahead. Be patient. Your blessings are on the way. What you want and where you want to be are taking time. But don't you see that you're slowly coming into your own? Softly, gently, immaculately. Let it happen to you. Don't rush your maturation, your blooming, your process. Everything will happen in the time that it needs to. I fully believe in that. We're here in the first place, and it's a freaking miracle, So, just let things be. Let things be as beautiful as they're supposed to be. Stop trying to control everything. If you controlled everything, that would be so boring. You would never be surprised by anything. Let things surprise you. She's an ocean. On some days, floating in her mind is the most calming and peaceful thing you can ever experience. And on other days, she's hard to swim in, the waves that she gives off strong, uncontrollable, and intense. But that's the beauty about her. You'll never come across a woman who is so raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic. In a world full of facades and mirages, she remains soaked in her essence. She remains rooted in her truth. No matter how others may feel about her, she remains close to home, even though her vibrations may shake other people's foundations. But she's an ocean. She's not meant to be controlled. She's just meant to be. And honestly, guys, if we can't be authentic, then what can we be? It's what we're made for, to be you. Once you understand this, you have made one of the biggest steps in your healing. Old lovers are not enemies. Old lovers are teachers. So true. No one's really our enemy, are they? Discovery. Never ignore your fears. There's a reason they exist. Find out why. Shine a flashlight on their existence and ask them questions. When they started, why they started, how they started. Dig into the truth until you find gold. Explore a little deeper until you sense emancipation. Sincerity. I can hold you accountable and still love you. You can hold me accountable and still love me. This is real energy. This is real love. Darling, you've been taught your whole life that carrying around pain requires strength. But what if I told you that finding the strength to let that pain go is where your true power lies? Yeah, don't let the past hurts stop you from living. And the truth is, I don't believe that anyone can half love you. They could take you for granted, but they can never half love you. Because if they truly loved you, they would never be able to have or quantify what they feel. It's either they love you or they don't. So true. Gentle reminder, not everything that comes back to you is meant for you. Sometimes things come back as a reminder of just how good you are without them. Understand this energy. Don't keep me close, keep me free. This will always keep me closer to you than you could ever imagine. Trust. Your journey will be misunderstood by many. At times your journey won't even make sense to yourself, but trust it nonetheless. Trust the turns and the blocks, the stops and the dips. Trust that your journey is shaping out the way it's supposed to. It is. Return ticket. Out of all the places I've had the chance to explore, your mind is by far my favorite. Transparency. Some people need space to see things clearer. Give them that room. Let the distance between the two of you paint the picture they need to see. Sometimes accountability is more action than word. Rare companionship. The ones that make silence feel like music. The ones that make connection feel like oxygen. The ones that make conversations feel like growth. Keep them around for as long as you can. Darling, treat yourself a little more softly. Your wounds deserve something a little more gentle than salt. Guys, I really don't understand why it's hard to be gentle with ourselves and love ourselves. just seems to be one of the hardest things, but it's so important. And I hope that you can love yourself today and every day. You deserve it. No one can define how I feel about myself. I used to wait for my wholeness to be defined by my connections. Now I choose to be whole in spite of them. Who is in my life and who decides not to show up do not reflect how full or empty I am. The keys to my wholeness are firmly in my grip. Yeah, guys. It doesn't matter how many people have hurt you, the things that you've gone through, the people that didn't think that you were worth it. You're always worth it. You're always enough. Screw the people that were mean, the people that said shit to you. They don't understand you. They don't know you. They don't see your heart, your soul, and your mind. Even if you tried sharing it with them, they don't actually know you like you know you. You are enough. You are enough. And you don't need anybody else. But it is nice to have people who actually know and love you. Love yourself. Divine contrast. The most dangerous people are the ones who only stay because there's still much you could do for them. The most valuable people are the ones who stay even when they know there's not much that you could do. Healing isn't linear. If you seem to be backpedaling instead of moving forward, there's nothing wrong with that. It'll take time to sculpt yourself into the version that you want to be. It'll take time to heal from the wounds you're suffering from now or from the ones that you've suffered in the past. It'll take time to move on from everything that has held you back before. But always remember that steps back are necessary. Understand that steps back are not detrimental to your healing process. Take as many steps back as you need. Allow yourself to retreat when the waves are too strong. Give your path time to clear up during construction. You will always find your way forward again soon. It's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with taking our time when healing, and even if we're feeling like we're going backwards, it's all gonna turn out the way that it's supposed to. You're gonna become the person that you want to be. You're already that person. You have those desires in your heart. You're already capable of those things because you feel them. So please remember that. You already have it in you. Shifts of impetuousness. Someone else's painful narrative is not an excuse for your mistreatment. Your soul is not a punching bag. You're not meant to take hits to absorb people's blows just so they could get stronger or just so they could cope. Your purpose runs deeper than just being someone's safe haven. To whom this may concern, all you've known is love that crashes and doesn't flow back to you. All you've known are lovers who take without the capacity to give. Don't let what's familiar confuse you with what's real. There's nothing romantic about... Oops, my phone went off. There's nothing romantic about unrequited love. No, but what's romantic is real love. Darling, it's exhausting having to explain yourself to people who don't want to understand you. I hope you learn to rest your mind next to ears that have the desire to listen. Your concerns hold weight, but only the right ones will know how to carry them. Have you ever noticed that there's certain people, like, you try and talk things out with who you try and explain things to, but they always make a habit of misunderstanding you? Those aren't your people. matter how much you want it to be, they're not. And you deserve people that want to know what you have to say and want to fix things and want to clear things up and want to communicate with you. That's the only way to fix things, and that's the only way to keep the connection real and obviously connected is communication. Communication can fix everything, just about, but all the parties have to be willing to communicate. I hope you learn to strip yourself of people's expectations of you and learn to exist as the being that you currently are. It is not your job to manage other people's expectations of you. There's too much unnecessary clothing to wear. It's nothing personal. It's just growth. My growth is too important to hold on to connections that no longer serve me. My growth is too important to hold on to connections that don't have the desire to be kept. I will honor the connection I have with myself before I honor any connection I have with anyone else. End the narrative that there are good and bad people on your journey. Introduce the idea that the people who are put along your path are placed there to help mold you into the masterpiece you need to be going forward. What if I told you there are no villains or heroes in your own story, but only people and situations placed in your path to help you bloom into the person you need to be? Yeah, guys, I truly believe everything happens for a reason, and nobody is fully bad or fully good. We all are human and make mistakes, and we don't know what situations others are going through. That doesn't make what they do okay, but we should try and have an understanding to their vulnerability and their humanness. Maybe they're just not our people at that time, or ever. Soul linguist. Sometimes pain is silent. Sometimes it has no words. Sometimes pain is empty. Sometimes it can't be filled. You don't have to find a language for your pain. You can feel for as long as you need, till your soul is ready to speak again. Who you are presently is who you need to be right now. I'm constantly outgrowing the person I was yesterday. The person I'm becoming owes the person I was. No explanations. That's the beautiful part about being human and ourselves, isn't it? We continue to evolve all the time. Eventually you'll be exactly who you're supposed to be. And you are exactly who you're supposed to be now. Forgive to feel lighter, but never forget your worth. If their love ran away at the first sight of struggle, be wary if their love tries to walk back when you're at peace. If somebody can't love you through the struggles, then is that even real love? Foresight. Excuse me. The goal is to be a little more in love with yourself than you were yesterday. A little more in love with life, too. I hope you learn to be everything for yourself before you try to be anything for anyone else. I hope you learn to swim in your own essence before looking for waters elsewhere. I hope you learn that you don't have to rent space on someone else to feel at home. You are enough. I also got another book. I got this one from my cousin, and it was really nice of her to think of me. She said she thought that I would like it, and it's called Our Numbered Days, and it's by Neil Hilburn. It says poems by Neil Hilburn. I've actually never heard of him before, but oh my goodness. 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. So let's dig right into this, right back into this. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my nose is just acting up. I'm trying to sneeze. Our Numbered Days. Our Numbered Days by Neil Hilburn. And this is just a sweet little book. So let's check it out. Our Numbered Days. That's the name of the first poem, I believe. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Our Numbered Days. The best way to get into heaven is to take it with you. Oh, so these are like little poems by other people. Henry Drummond. Heaven isn't a place, it's a feeling. Sierra D. Milder. Heaven will be no heaven to me if I do not meet wave there. Andrew Jackson. In many languages, the word for heaven is the same as the word for sky. Wikipedia. Yeah, when they say the heavens, they're talking about the sky. I will sing to you all the things I stopped myself from saying when we were alive. From the author. All the way to heaven is heaven. Saint Catherine of Siena. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, guys. I hope the exit is joyful and I hope never to return. Frida Kahlo. The light dimmed and the singing in his head stopped. Louise Erdrich. When my mother dies, I will lead her like a dog into the space between our walls, which is just like the space between here and always, the king and the kingdom. I will lead her by the hand, if she be blind, and I will wag my tail against her knees if she was afraid, and I will leave her at the gate. Life on earth will in some ways be easier. I will not have to return her phone calls. I will not have to feel guilty when I want to hear no more about the divorce. I won't cry, though I want to cry, though I will hate myself for not crying when my mother dies. If I'm still alive, I will slouch on my knees as though in prayer. I will write 1 or 2 poems, and I will no longer think of her. I don't really know what this one is called. If it's, the title of it is all abbreviated, so I don't know if it stands for something or if it's just supposed to be like type when you randomly type, but it says MSP Phi LGA Alp Phi MSP, which I don't know what that means, but maybe I'll look it up after this, or you guys could look it up if you feel so inclined. But how miraculous that we all keep our shit together. How miraculous that no one has a premonition of flames and tries to open the cabin door. The airline pilot next to me keeps his eyes closed during takeoff and landing. He does not drink anything. I have an orange juice with no ice. I want to watch the horizon as it gets further away. This man might be smarter than me, but he is also flying coach and reading the sports section while I do crosswords. So he's probably still smarter than me. Pretension can look like intelligence if you squint hard enough or wear glasses. There are, for some reasons, always Buddhist monks in the Philadelphia airport. Buddhist monks rewrapping their robes. This is my 6th time in the airport. My 6th time because of 2 different women. I have paid probably a couple $1,000s for the privilege. 5 cheesesteaks. Surprisingly good caramel popcorn. maybe 30 hours, 5 just flying to find outlets. How miraculous that I could go basically anywhere. How miraculous the doors, the wings, the recycled air. How miraculous flight is just a fall that never finds the ground. Ballad of the Bruised Lung. Many things happen in your life that shouldn't. The black spot that grew into cancer. The subcompact that just could not wait to meet you. Maybe things do happen for a reason, but that reason is stupid. Maybe your brother fell out of a window only because he's an asshole. Oh my goodness. I love you, but I can't keep letting you show up where I am and remind me of what I said to you all those times. I was drunk that one time. Most of them were just hurtful nonsense, but I'm proud of. You are like a comet. Ever so often you come around to fuck up my shit. In a perfect world, all the towns in Illinois would be named Blood, so I could no longer pick out yours on a map. When you're dumb enough for long enough, you're gonna meet someone too smart to love you, and you're gonna love you anyway. They're gonna love you anyway, and it's gonna go so poorly. It must be odd for our mutual friends who like me more, but think you were right. To say, oh my gosh, I need to throw my phone somewhere. I have it on, well, I don't know how to turn it on silent because I'm an idiot. Okay, now I lost my place. It must be odd for our mutual friends who like me more, but think you were right. To say I hate you would imply a world in which I kissed you more than your stomach. I kiss more than your stomach. Look, we've established that I'm a jerk, so let me say this. I'm a flat tire and you are a pothole full of lug nuts. I'm a pile of bricks and you're holding a sledgehammer, which is to say I would not exist without you. That was very beautiful. Joey always told me, laughing as though it were actually a joke, that he wanted to kill himself, but it was never the right time. There are always groceries to be bought and little brothers to be tucked in at night. Don't worry, Joey isn't going to kill himself. 20 more lines into this poem. It's not the kind of story I'm telling here. Joey got a promotion and now he can afford Prozac. Joey is Joe now. Joe is a cold engine in which none of the parts complain. Joe is a brick someone made out of fossils. If you removed money from the equation, Joey would have been painting elk on cave walls. People would have fed him and kept him away from high places because, gosh darn it, look at those elk. I think that the genes for being an artist and mentally ill aren't just related. They are the same gene, but try telling that to a bill collector. Oh my goodness. We were 17 and he drove us all to punk shows in a station wagon older than any of us. We were 17 and I bought lunch for Joey more often than I didn't. We were 17 and the one time Joey tried to talk to me about being depressed when someone else was around, I told him to shut the hell up and asked if he needed to change his tampon. You know that moment when the carton realizes he's taken 3 steps off the cliff? And he takes a long look at the audience like we're carrying the last moving box out of half-empty house. Joey looked like that. Without the puff of smoke, he just played video games for a half hour and then went home. Once I found Joey in my dad's office staring at the safe where he knew we kept the guns. Once Joey molded his car into the shape of a tree trunk and refused to give a reason why. I once caught Joey in biology class staring at a scalpel like he wanted to be the frog, splayed out wide open. So honest. There's one difference between me and Joey. When we got arrested, bail money was waiting for me at the station. When I was hungry, I ate. When I wanted to open myself up and see if There really were bees rattling around in there. My parents got me a therapist. I can pinpoint the session that brought me back to the world. The session cost $75. $75 is 2 weeks of groceries. That's a month of bus fare. It's not even a school year's worth of new shoes. It took weeks of $75 to get to the one that saved my life. We both had parents that believed us when we said we weren't okay, but mine could afford it to do something about it. I wonder how many kids like Joey wanted to die and were unlucky enough to actually pull it off. How many of those kids had someone who cared about them but also had to pay rent? I'm so lucky that right now I'm not describing Joey's funeral. I'm so lucky we all lived through who we were to become who we are. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Life is a bitch sometimes. Our numbered days. They dreamt not of a perishable home. William Wadsworth. July is gone like gasoline it took to come to the circle, make the circle again. Florida to Florida, by way of America. Laura Jane Grace. All that brooded, ignorant in your safe arms, concluded. Ruth Stone. Home is wherever people know our stories. Sam Cooke. The worst lie to say goodbye. Where are you going that I don't follow? Calvin Forbes. Home to people like me is not a place, but all places except the one we happen to be at the moment. Anthony Burgess. Books, China, A Life, Reprehensibly Perfect, Philip Larkin. In the past 10 years, I have seen my father perhaps 10 times, and while that is almost certainly an exaggeration, it tells the truth of the story. My house only felt like a home underwater in floods. My father was an astronaut because to me stars, or in the distant flashing of satellites, seemed closer than wherever he was. When I hear a Jeep outside, I think it might be him. Come to get me. Snow theory. When you hear the phrase winter weather advisory, you imagine a guidance counselor in snow that is unsure what it wants to do with its life, don't you? Don't you see skills test about its life before it becomes water? The nameplate on the counselor's desk reads Felipe Rios, Senor Rivers, as Snow calls him, has a constant supply of green highlighters. No one knows how he gets them, because Rivers can't walk into the store or be guidance counselors. Duh. If snow can drift, so can leaves and dust and responsibilities. You could have a light dusting of feathers. Snow is a sentient being that hates when people drive in straight lines. Snow is migratory. Snow is a dog that wants all the sidewalks to be covered in salt. Snow, therefore, is a happy dog. Imagine if fire extinguishers were full of snow. Imagine the fun we could have. Interesting. Unsolicited advice to Minnesota children. Listen here, you little shits. You're growing up in one of the most beautiful places on earth. Everything here is all decked out elk and the imperial majesty of winter, and you ingrate children of the snow spend all of your time in classes learning about things that will teach you nothing about ice skating on the bones of your enemies, or lighting moose on fire, or felling fir trees the beaver way, or how to make friends in a blizzard with the shovel. What I'm saying is, it's beautiful as a mushroom cloud out here, and by the time your grandchildren can enjoy it, it's all going to be a teepeed ocean anyways. So, whatever you do, put some of it inside of your head before it's gone. It's all yours, you bastards. It's all yours. Fabric swatches, paint samples. As you can already see, everything is fucked. Paul guessed. I will, in all of my hereditary optimism, try to be honest to you, my dear. Not just about where I am and particularly with whom, but also where I am in the vast melodramatic plane that is my feelings, and where I have placed you and how exactly it crosses the stupid desert to find me. There's quicksand in the stupid desert that I call my exes. They don't hate you, but, my darling, they also do not know you, which is not to say I don't speak of you, because I do, to my therapist, who I fired, to the women at bars and at work and at the roller derby bouts, who confuse me for an exit sign, darling. I use you, yes, to feel secure or loved, or like a tire wrapped in chains. So let us say, at least, that I do not use you abnormally. All of this is to say that, should you move here to live with me in the mental disorders I call friends and mental disorders, I will not lie to you. The sea is so wide and our boat is so small. Bystander paralysis. It is, as it turns out, very difficult to get IKEA furniture into the trunk of a subcompact. Harder still when you are a middle-aged woman who I theorize does not work out, not because she is a woman or middle-aged, but because she is screaming, "Curse these weak, beautiful arms." And your son, who I guess is my age, is sitting in the front seat staring at what I hope is his phone. The corners of the box are becoming quite sad. I am, as I said, probably her son's age. I'm not helping her because that would be like asking her to adopt me, and I already have a mother who I don't call enough. Maybe her son doesn't have legs. Maybe he does, but that doesn't change the fact that his mother is a huge jerk. I'm not helping because I've already assumed so much, and I would rather let her suffer than be wrong. Not dead. In the bar before the lights are on, but after the rails are clean in the station wagon, I learned to drive, then wrecked. In the morning, always in the morning, in the basement of the tea shop, that for some reason employed both of us, in the neighbor's yard on Halloween, in the middle school, high school, and community college boiler rooms, in the snowplow once, I should have been saying goodnight, and fucking meaning it. I should have been in my kitchen, and not that kitchen where my arms were way too long to be arms, or in the coffee shop, or the other gosh darn coffee shop, or in the street when it just started snowing. When I say I'm on my way, I probably mean it. I probably want to die less than I say I do. But who knows, the statistics are sporadic at best. I'll say I love you when I actually love you. We are in your mother's house, and I guess I want to be here. There's no reason not to, I guess. I'd rather be tattooing a bunch of triangles on myself or ordering a steak in an Indian restaurant or setting all my shit on fire. But none of those are currently reasonable options. If anyone is gonna kill me, it should be me. No, I won't kiss you. It's the wrong season. The nearest place you could buy a gun is only 20 minutes away. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but maybe you should listen to your feet when they tell you to run the fuck away. Maybe you should get out of here, then go get some more. I was trying to take apart a clock and put it back together before I noticed. I was trying to kiss you and blame someone else. Kiss the sidewalk instead of you. kiss anyone I actually love. It's so hard to love you, because who the fuck are you? I feel like I've spent my whole life waiting for this moment, and now this moment is terrible. This moment doesn't even have any fireworks. This moment falls asleep with its keys in its hand. It's not your fault, probably because you didn't make me this way. Stupid. No, I mean, I'm stupid. I mean, you might be stupid. Who knows? Who the fuck are you? But anyways, I thought cheating on my girlfriend would be so great, and now that I've kissed you, all that's happened is I've kissed you. And the pile of snow over the pile of leaves in your car on the train, always slightly hoping someone would catch me. All harvestmen are missing a leg. All drivers in St. Paul must have broken ankles. I have a broken ankle and I'm driving like them, poorly. Therefore, I declare this to be true. The harvestman, in case you're wondering, is that spider with the tiny body and long legs, referred to by the unimaginable South as the daddy long legs. Although I admit it would be funnier to imagine all people who harvest hopping on one leg. Not funnier? Did I say funnier? I mean somber and embarrassing. I mean, whatever doesn't offend you. Don't ask me questions if you don't want to hear stupid answers. I'm not good at many things, but I have been called the I'm not going to say this right. Renoir of being privileged by absolutely no one ever. But let's not forget about the terrible St. Paul drivers. They're so bad that I don't go out when it's raining. I don't go out anyways, but that's because of the anxiety. The anxiety comes out when it is and isn't snowing. All snow is missing is drivers. All drivers are missing is a lake. All lakes aren't working right today. All appointments today are being missed. All bets today are full. Memorial Day. The old lesbian couple is sitting in the park overlooking St. Paul. They're holding hands as though one or both of them have cancer. Or maybe it is their anniversary, but their car was just towed. Or maybe I should assume nothing about their genders or sexual orientations, because from here they are indistinct, and from here I cannot tell. But they're holding hands, and they look like they have been crying, and the flags are all waving, and people are walking uphill, and night is coming on, and I'm still in this park watching an old couple almost cry together. And I want this to be the most important thing I do all year. Future tense. And when your fourth love leaves you, you'll want to kill yourself, but you don't. You won't. You no longer think of suicide as a house you will build one day. Your fourth love, who was your first real love, who brought you peace when your whole body was a gun. When she leaves, you ask your roommate to hide the knives because you will carve her name to all the food in your fridge. Stop showering. Warmth will remind you of her. Masturbate in public. Hope someone catches you. You need to feel vulnerable in front of anyone else. Try to burn her clothes. Try to fall in love with strangers. Try to fall asleep without her. Open the windows. She would have wanted them closed. Turn off the radio. She can't sleep without noise. You can't sleep without noise. But noise will sound like her whispering into the world of lights and breakfast. Make the rain sound like nothing. Make the rain sound like nothing like her voice. Don't be alone when you are alone. You want to do anything you want. You did with her. So you won't do anything. Marvel at how she, the patient gardener, the bringer of sleep, she who draws the bath and lights the candles, she who made you, someone who could have made himself into someone. She made you want to live more than anything else, and now she makes you want to leave the world because you have not seen it. In her, you have seen the color and shape of your perfect little middle life, and now the children, the house, their arguments about tablecloths. They're all fading like things left in sunlight, like any dream left too long to the light. For months, years, every time you see her, you will want to kiss her. When you do, you expect pain to come like it's an old dog you can never bring yourself to put down. But there won't be none. You'll remind yourself, she will remind you. You'll remind each other this is for the best, that you are physically incapable of loving one another. And in those moments, you will be lying. Your heart screaming, I can, but you'll stay silent. Because of her, because she asked for this, because she felt something in you that's still full even though she's gone. April 2013. Crime rates rise with the temperature. Elsewhere in the country, a bomb has exploded. At a marathon, a fertilizer plant has exploded in Waco. A coffee shop has exploded in Iraq. Many things have exploded in Syria. From where I come from, everyone is surprised no one has flown a plane into the refineries. I am no longer from where I come from. I live in Minnesota, and in Minnesota, it has just snowed 7 inches. Winter forever means I will be safe forever. We have all been stuck in our homes for so long that we're growing used to them. Who would build a bomb in this weather? Who would plot anything this morning? Who would want all our houses to be ash or hospitals or tombs or anything other than houses? It's been so cold for so long that my fingers could not build anything other than a fire. But the robins arrived today. The forecast calls for rain. Our numbered days. You never give away your heart, you lend it from time to time. If it were not so, how could we take it back without asking? Jeanette Winterson. You are always tickling inside me. Oops. You are always ticking inside of me. Sierra D. Mulder. I love the way she changed before the dark did. The woman inside of her stepped out of her jeans. Jason Snyder. There are 2 beds in the room. Of course, we make love in one, fall asleep in the other. Sherman Alexie. I counted out my future children's names like stars. I let him touch my back under my shirt. Irene Lorsong. She made you want to live more than anyone else, and now she makes you want to leave the world because you have seen it. The author. So maybe love is a form of crying. Katie Rosemark. Through the gate into dusk, you've gone like the day. Paul Guest. I've been wondering mostly if love and sanity are the same thing. When I say I'm in love, I'm also saying the world makes sense to me right now. I know that love is not the same as knowing everything, but because she is gone, because about her there are unknowns that will now remain unknowable, it is important to list what is mine to list. She likes hazelnut in her coffee. She is a better driver when the transmission is manual. Though she couldn't name it, her favorite color is Bakelite Seafoam Green. She left me once, though it wasn't for very long, though it was distracted, though it shouldn't have happened. Once she left me. Chidden. My ex-girlfriend for the 5th time this morning, and when I wonder, does she become just my friend, swats my hand away from my mouth as I chew at my nails. She imagines my stomach as a bird's nest of finger ends. She imagines a digestive system as it ought to be karmically. She imagines me full of dead things, reconsuming that which I'm trying to grow out of. She is not wrong, but I hate telling her she is not wrong. And really, isn't this a metaphor for shit anyway? As in, I'm holding on to some shit. Neil, you just have to let that shit go. Stop biting your nails and let it go. The Sadness Factory is where I go when I run out of missing you, because the door is 3 feet high. You have to crawl into the factory. Let me tell you about leaving. It's either the drain or the window. The carpet at the Sadness Factory is all shag. The drapes, also shag. The walls are supposed to change color with your mood, but they have been broken since the 80s, which I hear were a rough time for empathetic architecture. The Sadness Factory is no joke, shaped like a heart. Sadness is the corniest of emotions. The most popular time to visit the factory is at night, because again, corniness. So they have hired the world's most incompetent security guard. He is always weeping and saying something unidentifiable about my wife. My wife. Sadness is much easier when you are reminded, by phone, by accident, of what makes you happy, so the factory always smells like maple syrup and snow melt. There's no golden ticket, iron though, cement. The lines for samples are prohibitively long. New apartment sadness. Everything is great, but something feels off sadness. A midsummer night sadness. The sadness of wanting to break something but being too weak. The sadness that comes from always knowing exactly where you are. Emphasis with peeled onions. After Peeling Onions by Lily Martin Spencer. I am not convinced those are onions. Onions do not make you cry like an opera singer. I have to assume, therefore, that she is an opera singer, and that therefore the plenty around her is about to disappear. You cannot be an artist and also know plenty. The jars, the somehow very ripe fruit, the gold earrings gone. All that's left is the knife and the onion, the knife barely indistinguishable from the wall. Barely for now. The way the blade stays out of focus until it's called, the way your life is sharper once it's gone. Freaking is the act of peeling, of stealing a phone call. 1. In 1968, John Draper built a small blue box with parts so simple they might as well have been magic. He stepped into the California sunshine. He found 2 payphones, one next to the other, and launched his voice around the world to the payphone next to him. He answered, "Hello?" And the 5 seconds before the sound returned to his ears, his voice unhitched itself from his throat. 2. My girlfriend moved to California, and my cell phone is starting to replace her. When it rings, I feel like she's touching me. I can feel it vibrate in my pocket, even when I know it's off. 3. Still standing at the payphone, John Draper tried to speak. He was coughing. He was choking on nothing. His voice was locked somewhere out there. He sent it away and it could not come back. He opened his mouth and all that came out was static in the Pacific. 4. I am driving to her and somewhere in the middle of America, my car breaks down. My phone dies in my hand. This country is closing around me. There are so many stars. I call out her name, but it's swallowed by all the distance. 5. In 1971, AT&T and John Draper arrested. The police released him without charge. How do you jail a man for just speaking? There are no words for the theft of time and distance. 6. When we call each other halfway across the country, we're paying for an illusion that space does not exist. We're paying to pretend that one day, if we reach hard enough, we will touch each other. 7. That night, John Draper heard his voice laughing at him. It was in the walls. It was in the phone lines. He took a pickaxe and started digging. With every single swing all he could hear was hello, hello, hello. 8. When she calls me, her laugh, crackling over the Midwest, feel further than her from when we were not speaking. I reach and touch nothing. I could hear phone lines on the wind. They're calling my name. Night. John Draper had the same dream every night. An endless field of robots with his voice, watching him sleep, his voice digging its own grave, his voice building walls and a root out of wire. 10. I have not seen her in so long. To me, she is only a ghost in a machine. She is only a memory, like a broken flashlight of summer. Or summer, for her. I sent away the best parts of me. I haven't come back. A talk show host has a nosebleed on national television. No, the talk show host becomes a moth. No, she enters wearing clan ropes. Oh my god. No, she interviews exclusively cartoon characters from now on. No, she tells Mickey Rourke to suck it. No, bad plan. She sets the clock back. She's a woman with that nosebleed. The talk show host opens the windows and flies away. She flies away. Wouldn't it be nice to fly away? The new sheets. After Ross Gay. Because I love you, I shouldn't tell you this, but I put a single red sock in all your sheets. Also, I used the detergent with the muscular arm and the tool instead of the bubbles and the clouds. Also, I turned the temperature knob at random, and darling, please don't take this to mean that I think erratically out of our love. Also, I tried to use bleach, but found a bottle instead. That somehow I could not find again. That somehow made the pink a brighter pink. And darling, I'm telling you this because you would find out. Not because you would find out. You're absent-minded and would convince yourself you had done this to yourself. I'm telling you this because I love you. If anyone should hurt you, it should be me. Again, also after Ross Gay. Because I love you, I shouldn't tell you this, but I put a single red sock in all your sheets. Oh, they just repeated the poem again. Well, I'll read it again since the author wanted me to. Again, because I love you, I shouldn't tell you this, but I put a single red sock in with your sheets. Also, I used the detergent with the muscular arm and the tool instead of the bubbles and clouds. Also, I turned the temperature knob at random, and darling, please don't take this to mean that I think erratically of our love. Also, I thought of using bleach, but instead found your hair dye, your red hair dye, and I poured it, all of it, because you were tired of our bed, because we needed a new washing machine anyways, and darling, I'm telling you this not because you would find out. You're absent-minded and would convince yourself you had done this to yourself. I'm telling you this because I love you, and if anyone should hurt you, it should be me. I don't want to hurt you. Our numbered days. Day, noun, a period of 24 hours, mostly misspent. Ambrose Bierce. Oh, call back yesterday, bid time return. William Shakespeare. Time goes, you say. Ah no, alas, time stays, we go. Henry Austin Dobson. Come on, skinny love, just last the year. Justin Vernon. And what of the dead? They lie without shoes in their stone boats. They are more like stone than the sea would be if it stopped. Anne Sexton. A time to gather stones. King Solomon. Time is making fools of us again. Albus Dumbledore. The clock talked loud. Tilly Olsen. What has died? Light bulbs. All of my pets. all of my family, the economy, and thereby my predilected for bad art and alcohol. My predilection for bad art and alcohol. The part of me that allows me to love as though I were not falling. Me in the future, me in alternate dimensions. Everything that is not at this moment, fucking everything that will not be. My grandmother and my aunt. The you in my head, the me in my head, and the you and me I have made you and me in my head. There is never enough time. You can look. This is what it's like to be in love with two people at the same time. This is what it's like to get drunk in a mansion. You will never live here. Don't get so comfortable. This is what it's like to live in a house full of antiques. This is what it's like to kiss someone until you're no longer sorry you kissed them. These two people you love, they are two temps doing the same job, separated only by a cubicle wall. They're both trying to fill a hole that wasn't empty in the first place. You keep calling yourself empty, and you're starting to believe it. This is what it's like to smash your friend's television. This is what it's like to set your fire to your clothes you're wearing. This is what it's like to turn a suicide note into a paper airplane. This is what it's like to turn a life full of exclamation marks into a blank page. This is the day you finally reach the cookie jar and find it full of seeds. This is what it's like to buy the wrong kind of flowers. This is what it's like to read your lover's mail and find they're doing nothing wrong. Have you ever set a field on fire and called it a birthday candle? Have you ever punished a dog because you trained it wrong? This is what it's like to build a wall in your living room. This is what it's like to use bricks when you should have used sand. The one you loved first, you only kissed her through a hole in that wall. You described the way your body would feel against her hands as though you were in an ancient city she will visit one day. Every night you say it is the last night. This is what it's like to sell your shoes in the desert. This is what it's like to try to fall asleep in the life raft. This is what it's like to say goodnight and mean goodbye. This machine kills fascists. The irony of the Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma is that it's financed by oil barons. The Kaiser family helped build things like the Hoover Dam. The Kaiser family are probably made of gold. There's a Woody Guthrie music bar. The bathrooms are immaculate and modern. Nothing is covered in dust. Everyone in all the videos speak with no accent, except for Steve Earle, whose first word was probably y'all. Woody was, you see, not a great singer, painter, or even guitarist. But Woody did not give a shit. Woody drew cartoons despite having no idea how to draw. To call Woody Guthrie a hero is true, despite the fact that a hero is supposed to have muscles and a destination in mind. If Woody were alive today, he would be a crust punk. He would be both amazed and thankful that people still ride the rails and that there are still boxcars to ride in. He would have a pit bull named Pete Seeger. Woody would take one look at this museum and decides he needs to sleep on the floor. He would write some new songs on the walls. He would discover spray paint and spray all of his cans. This machine kills fascists. Dust mop. This story requires some expansion. No. Exposition. So here it goes. My friend, let's call her Mary, because her name actually is Mary, works for Tex for America. She teaches at Todd Country Middle School on the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota, and she has asked us being me and my girlfriend, name given upon request, to teach a poetry workshop for her kids. Great. With that out of the way, I would like to now say this. I have been reading Sherman Alexie's poems for a few years, and he talks a lot about how Indian kids love basketball. I, being a good progressive liberal socialist, opponent of colonialism, wanted to assume nothing about Indian kids in basketball. But when they asked me to play some 5-on-5, so I will say that, these 9 Indian kids could ball. Humility is getting shook by a 4'11" boy who is 11 years your junior. I tore my shirt trying to dock I can't say his name, DeMonte, and that is the extent of what I have lost to Native Americans. A song for Paula Deen. You are the 4 seasons, or the Elvis of food. Black folks have been doing this for years, but put a white face on it and suddenly all the butter won't kill you. The butter for Paula. If no butter, send lard. If no lard, send fat back. Paula, I dream of you greased. I hold my hand near your skin and find you are hot enough. Do we do this, or do you want it to be done? I too have turned food into sex and woman into food. So come on, Paula, melt for me. Throw that hoe cake in the fryer. Make me American. Make me America like I want you to want me to be. OCD. The first time I saw her, everything in my head went quiet. All the tics, all the constant, refreshing images just disappeared. When you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you don't really get quiet moments. Even in bed, I'm thinking, did I lock the door? Yes. Did I wash my hands? Yes. Did I lock the door? Yes. Did I wash my hands? Yes. But when I saw her, the only thing I could think about was the hairpin curve of her lips, or the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek. I knew I had to talk to her. I asked her out 6 times. In 30 seconds, she said yes. After the 3rd one, but none of them felt right, so I kept asking, kept going. On our first date, I spent more time organizing my meal by color than I did eating or talking to her. But she loved it. She loved that I had to kiss her goodbye 16 times or 24 times if it was Wednesday. She loved that it took me forever to walk home because there are a lot of cracks in our sidewalk. When we moved in together, she said that she felt safe, like no one would ever rob us because I definitely locked the door 18 times. I'd always watch her mouth when she talked. When she said she loved me, her mouth would curl up at the edges. At night, she'd lay in bed and watch me turn all the lights off and on and off and on and off and on and off and on and off. She'd close her eyes and imagine the days and nights were passing in front of her. Some mornings, I'd start kissing her goodbye, but she'd just leave because I was making her late for work. When I stopped at the crack in the sidewalk, she just kept walking. When she said she loved me, her mouth was a straight line. She said I was taking too much of her time. Last week, she started sleeping at her mother's place. She told me that she shouldn't have let me get so attached to her. This whole thing was a mistake. But how can it be a mistake that I don't have to wash my hands after I touch her? Love is not a mistake. It's killing me that she would run away from this, and I just can't. I can't go out and find someone new because I always think of her. Usually when I obsess over things, I see germs sneaking into my skin. I see myself crushed by an endless succession of cars. She was the first beautiful thing I ever got stuck on. I want to wake up every morning thinking about the way she holds her steering wheel, how she turns shower knobs like she's opening a safe, how she blows out candles, 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 blows out. Now I just think about who else is kissing her. I can't breathe because he only kissed her once. He doesn't care if it's perfect. I want her back so bad. I leave the door unlocked. I leave the lights on. I actually heard that poem. I didn't know that it was this guy. I wonder if it is, because I know he has quoted other poets in here. But I saw the man who wrote that poem recite it online. And it was very, very beautiful, but very sad. You guys should check it out. Now I'm crying here. What the cicadas don't understand. It's September. Don't you know, cicadas, that it's September? The timing is never right, cicadas. We never get to see water becoming ice. Nothing is ever right. If you fall asleep, you always wake up in the same place. You can learn to sleep, but that won't make you a sleepwalker. You can learn love, but that won't make you a prisoner. You don't know how to fix a bathtub drain, cicadas. You run your finger around the trap to clean out your long, long hair, but every time that I tell you that, you don't listen. I never listen, cicadas. It's hard to hear music when you're always making it. You can't douse a fire and then blame the ashes. You can't sing when it's cold, cicadas. Steam, cicadas is the opposite of song. And remember when I told you we never get to see when water becomes steam? We have to communicate, cicadas. You have to tell me what you need before everything falls apart. Yes, you told me once you can't pull once and watch everything fall over. Nothing changes just because you want it to. Moving day. Today, as I was finishing the move across town, and isn't it funny how cliche the literal catharsis of throwing out all the things I no longer need, my seasonal affective disorder lamp, all the egg cartons, for the projects, of all my ex-girlfriend stuff that survived the 2 previous purges, curling iron candles, painting on her own face, swimming, bottle opener, blender, all the now dead Christmas lights, all the food I can't save, the chair, the older chair, the sheets in which the bad things happen, the things in the bottom of the box that I will try to landfill but will, as always, keep. The toy my mother sent me that is just a squishy heart filled with larvae. The bicycle carton, the bicycle part I cannot identify, the handwriting I also cannot identify, the sheets in which the bad thing happened, the sugar bowl, the sugar, the textbooks, the instructions and signs and limits, a sparrow flying over my feet, its wings beating against its own body, a sound not like applause, and it hit the ground, and because it was dead, it lay still. Little poems. Everything you ever needed to know about silence. You'll never be more wrong than the first time you say I love you. You will mean it, sure, but you'll still be lying. I didn't recognize you without your glasses. Though you choose to die 5 years ago, Alex, I still write your name on chalkboards and stray sheets of paper. I always leave out the E. I'm not finished with you yet. How to kill yourself without hurting anyone. Don't. Things that I hope are true about heaven. At the radio always plays what would have been your favorite songs. There's always coffee if you want it. That you're there. That it's real. Still life with pills. I too have wanted to open myself. I too have stared at a razor and seen it in a doorway. I think I'm still here because I was too scared to make the first cut. Clatter. It is impossible to imagine a color you have not seen. Instead of dying, the jellyfish simply ceases to move. I complete 5 crosswords a day because it stops the panic. Trucks are downshifting on Main Street. Hair is partially composed of cyanide. Napalm is just gasoline and plastic. I'm just carbon and bad timing. The first snow of the year. Alex, Since I'm still here, I have to act as though I meant to be here. Once it snowed and it wasn't that I felt great. Because I felt awful. But awful is better than nothing. Depression wasn't an endless gray sky. It was no sky at all. I've gotta go somewhere. I've gotta go. It has been and will be the year of airports. I don't know where I will get the money. I don't know what I will tell my friends. I don't know how we will love each other in the nights of cold and quiet. But airplanes exist and will fly between where I live and where you are. So hold on. I'm coming. I don't know what it is, but I do know where to find it. It's in the light sifting through your bedroom window. It's in the street when the whole world is pinched and slow. It's in the basement where you left it. It's in the ground. It's in your head. Don't give up the ship. When the winds are picking up, when the sea around you turns from blue to gray, when the sky grows veins of light before you, let your arms become sails. Keep the lighthouse at your back. I cannot answer you tonight. No one ever taught me how to pray, so I won't. Instead, I will say this. God bless the shape your head leaves in my pillow. God bless your insatiable hair. God bless you, though the hour is late, for you have come to me at last. Parking meter theory, after Richard Silken and Paul Guest. That the coins become something other than coins once the meter has eaten, perhaps hamburger patties, that we therefore are also feeding the city, that the meters are people and that they are very impatient. They are very patient. That the credit card operating meters are an invisible species, that we know not yet what we do, that parallel parking is like making love but more difficult than in public. That the curb is the border of a great nation, that perhaps the curb is a shoreline. Imagine one sidewalk is England and the other sidewalk is France. Imagine parking meters with long bows and tray buckets. I don't know what that is, but imagine the poet imagining parking meters and stupid metal hats, that is, laughably considering work. Making glass is work. Driving a forklift is work, as in procrastination, as is collecting coins or lava or hamburgers, whichever they are. Skyline with cranes and storm cloud. A broken clock is right twice a day, but there's no time at which a broken windshield is useful. In my peripheral vision, the cracks could be lightning. But Minneapolis is not as interested in melodrama and drama as I am. Somewhere, not here, it is raining. It would be great if it would rain on me, because then there would be a reason I feel like garbage right now. There's always, of course, a reason, but it would be nice to say it's raining only on my head, rather than I have a chemical imbalance in my brain, or I just remember that someone I love will die before I do. All of downtown is underneath the sky. All of us stuck on the freeway are underneath, downtown in the sky. If you spend long enough in one place, you'll eventually be hit by lightning. Because it's not real lightning we're discussing here. Stay longer and you will be hit twice. Never move, ever. You might go somewhere. There's no lightning. It might not rain there at all. Our numbered days. Fun may often have little to no logic basis. Wikipedia. I never did a day's work in my life. Thomas Edison. Writing stopped being fun when I discovered the difference between good writing and bad, and even more terrifyingly, the difference between it and true art. Truman Capote. In the past, some of the songs that were the most fun and the most entertaining and the most rocking fell by the wayside because I was concerned with what I was going to say and how I was going to say it. Bruce Springsteen. This suspense is terrible. I hope it will last. Oscar Wilde. Now, I think about it like my last voyage. A great leap into the dark. Thomas Hobbes. Mama, we came to dance. Brian Fallon. Fun as meditation. Meditation being doing exactly what you want to do at the exact moment you want to do it. When I say I'm having fun, I'm also saying I can't imagine being anywhere else. So suck it, depression. I don't need you. I have not needed you. And even when I don't mean it, I say I'm having fun and I don't want to be anywhere else. I will wield my joy like a broadsword or a fucking Nerf gun. I will have fun like my life depends on it, because it does. I'm sitting on my ex-girlfriend's porch listening to her play a song about me that I know her new boyfriend helped her write. Okay, babe, the fuck. I know you think that art is all about openness and total honesty, but honesty is like an ugly puppy. I don't want it. I know I should, but I don't. If you aren't going to put down the ukulele and say, remember when I broke your heart and then I wrote the song? I'm so happy that it's in the past. I'm so happy we're married. Don't play the song. If you aren't going to be the person the song says you are, someone who believes in permanence and redemption in America, someone who, loved me once, don't play the song. It's pretty fucked up. I'm sorry your kids are such little shits and that we are in the same Zen garden. It's unfortunate that your offspring make people wish for a dystopian future in which anesthesia is a university. Beloved form of birth control. But when elderly women literally everywhere are better parents than you, perhaps it's time to hang up the baby-making slippers. You're in Japanese gardens. What roosters are to the morning? You are like golf. I hate you. I realize that you have 4 children, all of whom are particularly strong-willed, and that you're tired, and that you might not get the support you need from your wife. But dude, your kids are being dicks to each other loudly within earshot of me. I'm gonna throw them in this koi pond. Did you know that koi are predatory? They're not, but I'm smarter than you, so let's pretend I'm right. The news anchor is crying because I called it during a Q&A segment and broke up with her on air. Q. Is dating a news anchor the dangerous and sexy fun you would imagine? A. I never got to ride in a helicopter. A. I never got to see horrific tiger accidents. A. She never took me tanning or teeth bleaching. She also never said I love you. But that's probably because A. She half believes she's a robot, but with less emotional capacity, circuits where the veins would be. Or A. Because the dark is rising. Or A, because her hair and thereby the timing was never right. Or A, because she actually didn't love me, because she probably didn't. Why would she? But anyway, the news anchor is crying, and now she has to report on a shooting. Another shooting on the 9th side of town, and her hair is just right. The tears are just so. Our numbered days. Depression is the inability to construct a future. Rollo May. Sanity is a little box. Charles Manson. Jesus. He went out alone, and an hour and a half later returned to announce, I've had 18 straight whiskeys. I think that's the record. On the death of Dylan Thomas. I feel certain that I'm going mad again. I feel we can't go through another one of these terrible times. And I shan't recover this time. I begin to hear voices. Virginia Woolf. You're always ticking inside of me, Sierra D. Mulder. It is often suggested that creativity and bipolar disorder are linked. Wikipedia. I put my heart and soul into my work, and have lost my mind in the process. Van Gogh. The fishermen know that the sea is dangerous and the storm is terrible. but they have never found these dangers sufficient reason for remaining ashore. Van Gogh. I am concerned that if I begin taking medication, I will no longer be able to write poems. Here and away. I've been hearing that the world is ending. I've heard it so much these days that I could either completely ignore it or never leave my house again. That is, if I actually leave my house for things that don't directly enable me to keep my house. See, I've been thinking about driving nowhere. I've been thinking about becoming a box inside a locker room inside a dark house at the dark end of the street. I want to go away until I'm gone. It takes so much less energy to not exist than it does to exist and get burned. I've been burned so much. I'm not me anymore. I'm a stupid puppet version of me. I've got strings that lead to nowhere. Nothing is pulling on me. I wish someone would drag my hand out of hiding and sign my name on the dotted line. There are days when I cannot find the sun, and even though it's rainy, it's right outside my gosh darn window. When getting out of bed feels like the key, a doomsday machine. So on these days, this is what I tell myself. Whenever you're feeling right now, there's a mathematical certainty that someone is feeling that exact thing. That is not to say you aren't special. That is to say thank God. That is to say thank God you aren't special. I too have kissed no one goodnight. I have launched myself off to all places and hoped no one would catch me. I've ended relationships because suddenly I was so exposed. But isolation is not safety, it is death. If no one knows you're alive, you aren't. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, it does make a sound, but then that sound is gone. I'm not saying you will find the meaning of life in other people. I'm saying that other people are the life to which you provide the meaning. See, we are wrong when we say, I think, therefore I am. The more we say it, the more it sounds like, I think, therefore I will be. You cannot think yourself into a fool table. You cannot think and make walls and roofs appear around you. I have thought and thought myself into corners made of words, nightmares. What has it gotten me but more thoughts, a currency that only buys more currency? So please, if you want to continue existing, do something. Learn to make clouds with only your breath. Build a house, even if every wall leans to the left. Love it anyway, just like a season, just like a child. Love how you hate yourself sometimes because, gosh darn it, at least there's still something to hate. It's so easy to think and keep thinking until you are the last person left on earth, until the entire world is no larger than the space between your bed and the light switch. But I hear the world is ending soon. When we go, and we're all going to go, I will be a part of it.